Welcome to the Discover Terrell podcast. I'm Sharon Harper, and I'm thrilled to invite you on a journey to uncover the hidden treasures of Terrell, Texas. Whether you're planning a weekend getaway or just dreaming of your next adventure, this podcast is your ultimate guide to our charming town. We'll explore Terrell's rich history, showcase must-visit attractions, and highlight exciting festivals and events that you won't want to miss. From local hotspots to unique experiences, we're here to show you why Terrell should be your next destination. So sit back, relax, and let's discover what makes Terrell a place worth visiting. Hello, and welcome to the June episode of Discover Terrell podcast. We're so glad that you're back and you're joining us. First off, let's jump into the event calendar for the month of June. Opening day for the City of Terrell swimming pool is June 3rd. Be sure and look for times on cityofterrell.org and take your kiddos to enjoy the fun summer at the pool. June 3rd from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Ryder C. Hulsey Library. The summer reading program will kick off with its activities fair, and then all summer long your child can participate in the activities there. Don't miss out on that. June 7th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Market on Moore will take place in historic downtown Terrell. June 14th and 15th in Ben Gill Park will be the North Texas Antique Tractor and Engine Show. Gates open at 9 both days. You don't want to miss that, and we'll learn more about that in just a little bit. The evening of June 14th from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., the first of 3 free concerts will take place in historic downtown Terrell. The Big Daddy Band, playing top 40 hits, will kick off the Terrell Social Series. There will be food trucks and free activities for the kids. Look for more dates to come, because this will take place in July and August as well. June 21st from 3 to 5 p.m. at the Jamie Foxx Performing Arts Center, the Lake Country Jubilee will feature Greater Vision, Mark Trammell Quartet, Mylan Hayes Family, and Jim and Melissa Brady. June 21st from 6 to 10 p.m., Terrell Heritage Market will host craft fair vendors, as well as food trucks and music in historic downtown Terrell. That's usually during the day, but during the summer we're going to do that event at night. So be sure and come to Terrell in the month of June. There's a lot going on. So getting right off into our podcast, there are some things that bring about nostalgia, and one of those is a rumble of an antique engine, or just seeing a really neat old tractor out in the field. And you think about, being a kid. I'm sure we all went to our grandparents' house and got to ride the tractor and cut hay. Oh, that's just me. But anyway, when I see a tractor, I definitely have fond memories. So we're here today, and we're going to dig into a little bit more into the Antique Tractor Show and Engine Show that's going to happen June 14th and 15th. I have Lyle Metzler here with me. He's one of the key organizers behind the show and a passionate advocate for preserving agricultural history. So let's jump into meeting Mr. Lyle. How are you, Lyle?
Fine, Sharon. How are you doing today?
Doing good.
Good.
So tell us about this thing that's happened June 14th and 15th.
Well, this is, I believe, the 20th year that we will have been in Terrell. The show moved from Samuel Farms down here to Terrell, and we have a number of different activities that go on. On Saturday, there will be antique tractor pulls, and these are not the things that you see on TV with the 3-jet engines. These are just old farm tractors, and once you get the clutch engaged, you could probably start it down a track, step off, drink a cup of coffee, and nothing really bad would happen until you could get back on. And it's a lot of fun, various weight classes, and people will come from various places, from Louisiana and other Oklahoma, to come down here and participate in this pull. On Saturday, we'll also have a knife sharpener, so if you have any scissors or knives that need to be done, he does a good job with that. We'll have a stationary baler here, showing how much fun it was to bale hay in the olden days when instead of having to sit in an air-conditioned cab, you got to sit behind a dusty baler and poke wires, the wire ties to put the bales together. Because the show is in two different parts of Gill Park, we have shuttles that will go from the tractor display area and where these events are I just told you about, down to the pull track, and then come back, and that's free. And we've had teenagers that they spent the whole day riding back and forth on that, and that's fine.
Yeah, they just like to ride the tractors.
Yeah.
So 20 years you've been in Terrell, but how long has the event been overall? How many years has it been going on?
I'm going to guess probably closer to 40, but that's a guess. I've never asked that question. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. So how did you get involved with this organization, Lyle?
I grew up on a farm in the Midwest. I always wanted a diesel tractor. Dad always farmed with gas, and back then diesels cost a whole lot more than a gas tractor because not everything was fuel injected like it is now, so the cost of the injector pump was pretty significant. I also wanted a two-cylinder John Deere tractor that had a gas starting engine on it, called a cranking engine, or everybody called it the pony motor. And it turns out that my dad's cousin, who owned the 80 acres that my father was literally born on, had one of the tractors. And tragically, when John's health got so bad that it was not safe for him to have the tractor anymore, his wife sold it to me, and it moved to Texas. So my tractor, I call him Johnny, since he's a John Deere. Johnny wasn't born in Texas, but he got here as soon as he could.
As soon as he could, as soon as he could. I know when we have meetings with you guys, with your group, everyone kind of gets into arguments over which is the best tractor. Is it a Case? Is it an International Harvester? Is it a John Deere? It's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah. It's a lot like sports rivalry, I guess.
Whose team are you on?
Yeah. And it's a little bit like in the first Top Gun movie when Viper says, "Now remember, when this is all over, we're still on the same side." So we can rag each other in the club, but we are on the same side. We just like preserving old iron and
Yes.
helping kids get a chance to be introduced to it.
And then that gets me into my next question. So when someone comes, their first time visitor to this event, what can they expect? Like when they first walk up?
There will be a display area for the tractors, and that's in the grassy area that is north of Lions Club Lane, and there will be signs posted there about what the tractor is and that sort of thing. Usually the owners will be around unless they're doing something, and you can ask questions about it. We hear a number of people talk about, just as you mentioned, you were out cutting hay when you were a little girl. Mm-hmm. They'll talk about, my dad had one of these, Uncle Harry had one of these, or whatever. So there'll be a lot of that. A lot of interest just in how does that work, questions people can ask, and maybe even like you asked, how did you get interested in this? Mm-hmm. And then not only the tractors, the display tractors to walk around, there's also going to be the hit and miss engines. And before there was rural electrification, a lot of work was done by these hit and miss engines. And if anyone's been to Canton, there were two men down there who had hit and miss engines. One made ice cream and the other ground corn into cornmeal. And they were used for that. Maytag had a huge number of engines, and they would throw the family I saw with one that had the washing machine in the kitchen, and there was a flexible spout for the exhaust pipe that it went out the kitchen door on the front porch.
So these engines actually were how these rural homes powered themselves.
Right, pumping water for the livestock,
Interesting.
grinding grain, just a number of household chores until we got electricity.
Well, I did not know that.
Oh.
So we learned something on this podcast too, everybody. It's not just about the fun stuff, actually educational. So that is something neat to preserve and to make sure that people know that we always haven't had a switch to flip
Right, right.
or a spigot to turn on.
Yeah, and it was kerosene, and can you imagine? I grew up in Illinois, and the Chicago fire was started by Miss Bessie's cow or something that kicked over a lantern in the barn
Yeah.
and burned a tremendous amount. So kerosene was used for lighting and cooking even, and coal for heat, and now we have electricity that does so much of that and so much cleaner.
Right, it is, but it's still neat to know that history and for people to know how the innovations came about. So, how many tractors do you think will be on display?
I'm going to say probably close to 100. Now there will be some that will be purely on display, and then where the antique tractor pull takes place, for those familiar with Ben Gill Park, it's on the west side of the swimming pool. You should be able to hear it from most anywhere in the park. There will be a number of pullers who will leave their tractors down there, so those can be seen, but that's going to be safer if you see those while you're sitting in the bleachers.
Okay, okay. So, on the show, is there a cover charge? Is there a gate fee?
Yes, if you're 9 years old or older, it's $5, and that's all day, but it's only per day. It's not for the 2 days, and that includes if you want to ride the shuttles from the display area to the pull track and back and forth.
And parking is free too.
Yes, parking is free, and there's designated automobile parking. And the one thing I would really request everyone to be careful of, especially if you have small children, these tractors have a lot of blind spots on them. And if your kids are going to be around when the tractors are moving, please hang on to your children.
Right.
Because nobody wants, we're all grandpas, and nobody wants to see a kid get hurt. So be safe, but it's going to be a lot of fun too.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun for $5. That's all day family fun, guys. So y'all want to make sure that you don't miss out on that.
There will be 2 food vendors here too, and one's going to be close to the tent where the Chamber of Commerce is providing for us, and another one will be down at the food vendor. And then there will be bottled water available that people can have just for a donation.
Oh, okay, okay. That's not bad because you definitely need water because it does get a little warm. But you're doing it before it gets too warm. But it is Texas, so we never know. So tell me a little bit more about. I think you have something for the little guys that they can participate in. Tell me about that.
Yes, we have been fortunate to have a major sponsor, and Cane's Chicken. And the little people can ride on pedal tractors, which farm kids had instead of tricycles in most instances. They wanted to have a tractor like their dad drove. So these are pedal tractors. Some of them are pretty heavy and some of them are plastic, much lighter to pedal. And we'll have a pull track there. And for everyone who completes the pull track, then they'll get a certificate for Cane's, which is good for a meal. Oh, excuse me, and it's one certificate for the whole weekend. You can't take a family of 12 off for dinner by sending your kid down there, but the children really seem to enjoy that, and they run around or pedal those tractors around and have a good time.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Yeah, my grandkids would love that. That sounds like a lot of fun. So, and I know that they love riding the shuttles because I see the kids just having a blast riding the shuttles from places. So, guys, I cannot tell you how fun it is when you go out there and you see what's going on during here. It is a fun day in Terrell, Texas. So, on the event, how many people do the pulls, and how heavy is the sled that you're pulling?
Ooh, where's Brandon Frazier when you need him?
Brandon must be who works the pool.
Yeah. Actually, we're having a sled brought in, and I don't know, our sled had a 25,000 pound weight in it,
Wow.
And as the tractor goes further down the track, there's a gearing mechanism that pulls that weight further ahead, so it puts more weight on a pedestal, which slides along the ground, which makes it harder to pull. So I'm going to guess it's probably at least 25,000 pounds on
Wow.
that. And then when you get to the end, then the weight is released back, and that takes all the weight off the front end, and we have a pullback tractor that takes it down. A full pull's 300 feet, and we have people that'll sit on the sled with a measuring wheel to say how far it is. And some of the big tractors have gotten within 6 inches of each other
Really?
on a pull.
Yeah. Some of these tractors are so massive. Yeah,
Yeah.
they really are. So on the event, is there anything else you want to tell us about? So you said Raising Cane's is your sponsor?
Well, we have a number of other sponsors too, and they're on our website. The easiest thing to look up our website is to do a Google search. Start off with North Texas Antique Tractor and Engine Club.net, and because there's hyphens in it, and it requires a lot of hunting and pecking if you're an old timer like me. But we have a number of other sponsors. Various businesses in Terrell provide support for us, and they have banners that'll be hanging on the fence at the pull track so you can see them, and we encourage you to support them because they support us.
Right.
And I mentioned canes because we were talking specifically about the tractor
kids. Okay.
tractor
Okay.
pulling for the kids and
Yeah.
for that meal.
Well, that's neat that they have that because the kids really enjoy that activity. And two guys, if you're listening to the podcast, and that was a long name, website name with hyphens, but you can also go to discoverterrell.com, and I have a page on there for the tractor show.
Okay,
so,
thank you.
So if you could always go to discoverterrell.com, click on Tractor Show, and I have a link there that can take you to their website, or if you want to know more. So that's awesome. So be sure and make it out to this event. It is a favorite here in Terrell. So, and Ben Gill Park's beautiful too. So you can come out and check out Ben Gill Park and look at all the wonderful tractors. I'm going to talk to Lyle a little bit more about his antique tractor and the love of the preservation work. Just tell me more about what the club does.
I have jokingly said that while we are the North Texas Antique Tractor and Engine Club, we could maybe put in owners in that as well, where we're the Antique Tractor, Engine, and Owners Club, because most of us are in our retirement years. We have a number of younger members too, but I have worked on tractors when I was a kid growing up on a farm that are older than my tractor, but mine was built in 1957. So we'll get together and we discuss these, and as you mentioned earlier, we'll rag about which one is the better sounding and the better running and the more powerful and all that sort of thing. But the idea is to connect kids with how we used to produce food in this country. And I've had a chance to travel the world quite a little bit, and we are blessed in our country that our biggest problem with food is we have too much of it and it's too rich. And that's because we have people out there who are farmers who use these old, well, at one time used these old tractors when they were new, and now it's gone into even more. So we like to talk about the past. And the other thing, if I may be so presumptuous, is that the way we used to harvest wheat is so much different than the way it's done now, with air-conditioned cabs on combines and air-conditioned cabs on tractors to haul the grain out and all that sort of thing. It was a lot of men out there with pitchforks and sweating a lot and drinking a lot of water. This is before Gatorade and all that sort of thing, but nonetheless providing the grain that was necessary to feed this nation. So the baler kind of takes us back to those days, because people see how they bale hay then as opposed to how you do it now.
Right.
One guy with a tractor and a baler can do it all. You know?
Right.
And this takes about 4 guys to bale a whole lot less in the same day. So it's the idea of trying to connect the past to the current.
Okay.
And the common thread through that is food. And these things were done to raise the food that we eat and enjoy so much of.
We do enjoy it. Sometimes I enjoy it a little too much. It's so funny when you're talking about a hay, the baling of hay. My dad used to say that getting ready for football, their coach used to make them go work in the hayfield. That's how they prepared for football season.
Yeah.
Is they would actually go out, and he was like, we didn't lift weights, we lifted hay bales. We worked in the hayfield.
Yeah.
So he was like, but we were in shape and the heat didn't bother us, when we got to time to play football.
Yeah.
So he goes, that felt like fun after being out in the hayfield. So, but anyway, it was a different time. Yeah. So, but it's just nice to always have people like you and your all's organization to bring us back to, it hadn't always been cushy like this. We haven't always had air conditioning and get anything at basically a touch of, some electronics. We get whatever we need. It was
right.
So I celebrate y'all for celebrating that history. Okay, so tell me, I'm sure you have multiple pieces of equipment. What's your favorite tractor in your collection? Or?
Well, I have 2 tractors, and one of them has a loader on, which is what I really like, to have that loader. But the other one is the one that farmed the 80 acres that my father literally was born on. His cousin who owned that land said Aunt Jen, that would have been my grandmother, was in that front bedroom upstairs the day your father was born. And the fact that my tractor farmed that 80 acres at one time is really special to me.
Yeah.
And I grew up when Paul Harvey was on the radio, and the rest of the story. Exactly. And to me, there are a number of 720 diesels out there, but this one, the rest of the story for this one is it farmed the 80 acres that my dad was born on.
Exactly. And then you still have it in the family, and that's truly amazing. So, wow, that's a great story. Behind the scenes of the event, I know you've got a great group, because usually guys, they're not all here, but when we have meetings about this event, it's usually a big group. So I know you probably have some people behind the scenes that you want to recognize while we're on the podcast.
Well, I mentioned Brandon Frazier and his cousin Stevie. They run the pull. Even though we have another sled that comes in, they organize that and get everything all set up and ready to go. Jamie Russell is organizing the shuttle wagons and the drivers that'll be on that. Terry Sorrells supervises putting up the fencing materials that we put around. Gordon McCosh heads up the setting up the awnings over the bleachers from the park that get gathered down there at the pull track, so that people can go down and sit in the shade. And there will be ice water there that you can make a donation for and get a bottle of water if it's hot, and it oftentimes it is. And then the ladies, Cheryl McCosh, my wife Carol, that put together the Kitty Tractor Pull. David Connors, who provides the tractors for that. Linda Parks, who runs the welcome desk and the registration table and sells the T-shirts and everything else. So it is really a team effort, and it's. I'm a retired military guy, and we almost have an SOP, a standard operating procedure, who does what. And we have a rule in our club: nobody can die, because we don't know how to fill them in that spot what they do. So a lot of people, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to recognize some of them.
Yes, because guys, I know y'all aren't here with us, but those meetings are so much fun. So always have a great time when the tractor club comes in. What are your hopes for the future of the tractor and engine show and going forward from this year? Is it something that you see going on?
My goal would be for it to go on because while I really enjoy looking at the big new tractors with the cabs and the four-wheel drives and all that sort of thing, and the new combines and the grain carts and all that sort of thing, when my tractor, my 720 diesel, was a new tractor, it was a big farm tractor, and now it could not pull a grain cart of grain out of a field. And if you could get it running on a hard road, it'd take 3 counties to get it stopped with a 500 bushels behind it. So, but how did we get to where we are now from doing this with horses, Ned and Dobbin and mules? The tractors started with steam and then went to internal combustion, and then the gas and diesel and propane tractors, and now we're basically all diesel. And the amount of power in the engines and the four-wheel drive articulated, it's just amazing to me how we got there.
Right.
And so I would like to see us continue on. And I think the hit and miss engines really fill in a good niche too, just to remind people that you did not always have electricity in your house if you lived in the country.
Right.
So
yeah, it wouldn't hurt for people to know how to use them, because who knows, we might have something happen where we have to rely on them again someday.
Right, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us about the Tractor and Antique Engine Show. I can't talk. People find that hard to believe when Sharon can't talk, that's for sure. But anyway, thank you, Lyle, for coming in and spending this time with me and talking about the show. And we're so excited for June 14th and 15th. Remember, you can go to discoverterrell.com and find out more on the Antique Tractor and Engine Show. June 14th, 15th, starting at 9 a.m. both mornings. See you guys soon. Thank you, Lyle.
Thank you, Sharon, for allowing me to come.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Discover Terrell Podcast, brought to you by the Terrell Chamber of Commerce and Convention and Visitors Bureau, with production assistance from Jessica King. For more information on the exciting